This is Sick and Wrong, America's #1 source for antisocial commentary. Brought to you by the Reach Around Foundation.
Good evening. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world source for antisocial commentary. I'm one of your hosts, D. Simon.
I'm your other bloody host, Lance Walkley.
That was good. What's that supposed to be? Like an Australian accent? English accent?
Is there a difference?
Yeah, there's an Aussie accent.
It was kind of Lemmy-ish, too.
Yeah, it did kind of sound a little like Lemmy.
I think I've got a cold, so my accents aren't quite 100% today.
But they're always just really good, though. I mean, they're always just well practiced.
It's only like 95%
and refined.
accuracy.
Well, dude, this is podcast 29. And, we're just fastly approaching 30 podcasts.
Although we've kind of determined just that 30 is not a big deal, right? We're not doing anything special for 30.
No, dude.
25 was big.
We're waiting to 50.
Will be big.
Yeah, we're waiting to 50. The what's that? The silver anniversary?
We're the biggest gigantic losers in the world anniversary.
Yeah.
For doing this 50 of these.
The we have too much free time anniversary.
Yeah.
I can see that. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I had some one thing we have in California that you probably know, although being a vegetarian, maybe you don't, but we have like a real genuine Mexican restaurants. Oh, yeah. Which I went to for dinner, and I'm kind of I'm paying Mexicans the price. Here. Yeah. You know, you go to like Chevy's or whatever, Chi-Chi's, those like mainstream chains, and they'll put like vegetables on your plate. But if you go to these real Mexican places, it's just like a bunch of meat and some kind of like red spicy sauce, and then maybe some beans and some cheese thrown on it, and that's it.
And miscellaneous meat. You can't even really identify exactly what type of animal it came from.
It's real good, but now I'm paying the price. So if you smell any strange emanations, it's totally a normal bodily function. I just want to get that out of the way.
Well, speaking of bodily functions, a topic I wanted to get to before we kick off the show here is something that I think is more of a service to our audience. I know a lot of people out there that listen to Sick and Wrong might be in need of this type of product. So, I'm actually not working for the company. No, actually, I just kind of came across this randomly, and I felt that we need to address it here on the podcast. So, the subject is anal bleaching.
Would you assert that you just randomly came across searching the internet? What happened? Did your girlfriend make a comment or something?
Dude, I don't even want to go there.
All right.
I'm not going to tell you, but I...
Fair enough. Anal bleaching is the topic. We don't need to know how it came up.
It came up on Saturday night late. We were really drunk, and anal bleaching
Say no more.
Is the result.
Say no more.
Okay?
Say no more.
All right. So, my question, I know there's been a lot of internet attention to this topic, because a lot of people out there thought it was an urban myth. Do people really bleach their anus? And
right.
So
it's sort of like, do people really, shove gerbils up their ass in a cardboard tube? It's still sort of out. It's out for the verdict's out. Nobody knows for sure.
Do people really get blumpkins?
Right.
So yeah, I thought it was an urban myth. So I did some investigation on my own, found out that anal bleaching is real, and there's a company that makes an anal bleaching product.
If it's on the internet, it must be true, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's on the internet, if there's an article about it, then it has to be true. Actually, I was looking at this website, and I don't think it's fake. If it is fake, it's a pretty good one. Because you can actually order products.
They do allow you to order the product, so
I think it's real. So anal bleaching is a growing trend, started as a response to waxing salon customers who are concerned that their anal and vaginal areas were too dark. Originally, anal and vaginal lightening was discovered by porn stars.
Yeah.
And strippers,
Their
models.
bear is a newborn baby down there.
Beauty-conscious
From what
people.
I'm told.
Lance
I don't watch
Wackerly.
any porn myself.
Well, it's funny because I was just thinking about this. It's like, I don't think I've ever really noticed it that much. Have you ever been with a girl that had a really dark vagina or a dark asshole?
I just don't care. If I'm looking at vagina and asshole, I'm just happy.
Yeah, same with me. That's my sentiment exactly. It's like I never sat there being like, baby, your asshole's just too brown.
Pew.
Aren't assholes supposed to be brown?
Poo does come out of there.
Exactly. That's why, I mean...
And I think it's funny that they say that this came about because the waxing or whatever shaving thing is so big, because I have, like, major hair issues to deal with before I even have to start thinking about bleaching.
Well, I never really make girls stare at my asshole, so I never thought it was, like, an issue.
The 69 position, I think.
Until Saturday night. But we don't want to get into that. So, anyways, there's a company called SouthBeachSkinSolutions.com. Go check it out, people. It's actually kind of a funny website. And what they do is they make a product that you can apply at home that will whiten your anus or your vagina.
Or other things. They say it works on nipples.
Yeah, actually, it says the product is perfect for use on anal, vaginal, and genital areas.
They don't say anything about birthmarks.
Or balls. Can you whiten your balls?
I don't know.
God, that'd be kind of a shocker if I just had bright, white, shining balls.
Yeah, like, and you put a black light in your room and they just stand out.
They just glow.
Bing!
Like, hey, baby, check it out. Put them in your mouth. You can actually see it through your cheek. But, yeah, you can put them on breasts and nipples, underarms, faces, and age spots, and other skin discolorations, all skin types. So black people can even whiten their asshole, which is actually kind of funny if you think about it.
Right.
They could, a black guy could probably just get a completely white dick. He could have a white package.
It'd be like highlighted. Like a highlighter.
It'd be like Michael Jackson. So on this website, what I thought was funny about the SouthBeachSkinSolutions.com website is there are a number of questions that they attempt to answer so people can figure out what anal bleaching is. So one of the questions here is, do you suffer from embarrassing dark or discolored anal or vaginal areas? And I think a lot of people probably don't know. I mean, have you ever seen your asshole?
No. I've thought about it, and then I get to the brink of where I'm about to stand over a mirror and just be like, I don't want to go past that point.
I just want to see the brown eye.
It's a one-way door that you can never go back through once you've looked at your own asshole.
That's kind of what I always thought. I always thought, I could do it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to.
I don't need that kind of trauma in my life.
And I never have. I never make my girlfriend stare at my asshole. Very, very rarely. Except for this past Saturday night.
So but you know what though? This is a deeper issue. This is a classic I guess I don't know if it's just American, but just a marketing thing is you convince people that they're ugly or smelly or just different from other people, and then you sell them a product. So just that statement, do you suffer from a dark asshole? Before anybody had this type of product, people would just be like, my asshole's dark, but I don't think I'm suffering.
I don't really care. No, I mean, seriously, they're creating an ailment.
Right.
They're creating an issue. People in this country are so insecure already, shallow. It's like all of a sudden, okay, well, yeah, now there's a new thing I need to think about.
I have a unibrow. My underarms stink. I have food in my teeth, and I need to brush them.
So it says, do you suffer from embarrassing dark or discolored anal or vaginal areas? Many women and men do. We all want to look our best, especially the most intimate areas of our bodies. Now you can with South Beach Skin Solutions. And so they ask here, is your wink pink? Discoloration of the skin, including the face, hands, underarms, anus, vagina, genitals, and other areas can be caused by aging, hormonal changes from pregnancy, and other changes of your body. So with more
what
people
about just
waxing,
pooping?
Yeah, I could see how pooping and not wiping.
I guess maybe wiping takes care of that.
Well, it's supposed to if you do wipe. I imagine.
That's another one of those things. Like, I have crap in my ass. Oh, I need toilet paper now. It's all this marketing bullshit.
I was wondering, do you think Michael Jackson owns this company?
I mean, this is totally... Here's the question.
He likes little boys to have shiny white assholes.
But you know how there's tons of celebrities who they get a little bit of plastic surgery done because they're getting a little old, whatever, chin tuck, slight nose job, whatever. And then they just go totally overboard. Not just Michael Jackson. There are tons of people, like... that guy that Liza Minnelli was married to. So there's going to be people that will, color their anal opening till it's kind of a normal color, blends with their skin, and then they're just going to keep going till it's, like you said, just bright white.
Dude, I think I would take issue with a girlfriend that was worried about this. I'd be like, why are you worried about the color of your anus?
This is why I only have sex in the pitch black darkness.
You never turn the light on?
No, dude, it's dirty. It's a dirty, dirty deed.
Well, I mean, you can't see anything anyway through the hole in the sheet. I don't see why it's that big of a deal.
That's your people, not mine.
So on this website, I know well, you should open it up here, but there's a number of testimonials, and that's kind of what I wanted to get to. It's like, yeah, the product's funny. The fact that people do it, that's funny. But the testimonials are key.
Yeah, there's a couple of sites with testimonials. There's this one has I'm a 42-year-old divorced white woman. I had really dark skin around my anus and vagina lips, and I was really embarrassed to have sex with my new boyfriend, who didn't even take any notice of this whatsoever.
I couldn't imagine any guy really caring.
No.
I mean, I guess maybe gay dudes care, but I bet you my brother doesn't care.
Or I can see girls caring if a guy's package looked weird, but guys are just like, whoa, that's a weird one, I've never seen that before, and then you just dive right in.
Well, dude, I can understand if they have like an enlarged clitoris. You know, if their clitoris is just like protruding out and it has a little, a sack on it, yeah, I would be concerned.
So you're saying if they had a dick?
No, I'm saying if she was a hermaphrodite or something, I would be like, hey, babe, we got a problem here, okay? We got to address something first. But if it's just like, a little tan, a little gray, dude, I'm all ready.
My assertion is that in the heat of that moment, there is a very wide range of what I will consider to be totally acceptable.
Dude, the fact that you have a condom wrapped around your penis means you're impervious to anything.
I'll stick it anywhere.
It doesn't really matter. So yeah, this website has all these testimonials, which I wonder. I just question the verity of these testimonials. Do you really think they're all true? They're from real customers? Do you think they made this up?
Well, this page is kind of funny because there's a testimonial from a 42-year-old, a 31-year-old, and a 24-year-old. So they're purely just, I don't know if they pick and choose these or if they actually wrote them just saying, well, we want to get the entire age range in.
Well, now that's on a different website. That's on analbleacher.com, right?
Right, yeah.
So
Sorry. I'm using my anal bleaching website.
And there's actually surprisingly kind of a number of anal bleaching websites.
But they all link together, so I think they're all part of this, coalition of anal bleaching.
Well, there's www.getanalbleaching.com. There's bestanalbleaching.com. There's analbleacher.com. And there's getwaxing.com. And then another magazine called the Crappers Quarterly Magazine, which I think I'm going to be a new subscriber to.
Yeah.
But on the
Crapper.
The testimonials here on the South Beach Skin Solutions website. So it's like, okay, what a great product. I used to be so embarrassed by my dark areas. It was really affecting my life. Your product solved all my problems. Thanks so much. How was it affecting his or her life?
Like
you can't go to work because my asshole's too dark?
Yeah, because Americans are so insecure and shallow and have nothing better to worry about. They get some, wild hair up their ass, for lack of a better phrase, about anything, and they just can't stop thinking about it.
Or what about this one? After 5 children, I got such horrible discoloration on my anus and vagina. My husband was really turned off. I didn't know that anything could be done about this until I found you. Thank God for your help.
I love the adjective horrible. Horrible discoloration.
Dude, I highly doubt her husband...
her arm was amputated or something, or she's grossly disfigured in the face.
Dude, I highly doubt her husband was really that turned off by the discoloration of her vagina. After 5 kids...
It's probably the giant stretch marks and fat rolls.
That's kind of what I think, the stretched out hanging labia that you could shove like a football into, I'm sure that's what he was turned off about. Hot dog in a hallway. But hey.
No tread left on those tires.
So how about this one? This one's from, I guess, I imagine a guy. I am not gay, but I've been worried about how I look down there. I didn't know that anything could be done. Thanks.
Dude, you are gay.
You're
gay. You want
to
know how I know you're gay? Because you're fucking bleaching your anus, asshole.
Yeah, you want to know how I know that guy's gay?
I'm having trouble with that word. I think I have issues.
Is he staring at his asshole? He has an issue there.
I'm not gay, but my quote-unquote friend was staring at my asshole and said it was a little dark.
Here it is. My wink is now pink. I'm an African-American woman. I was very impressed that your product worked on my skin. I will buy again. My wink is now pink. So anyway, people, in conclusion here, anal bleaching is real. And if you are concerned about the color of your anus, you probably shouldn't be listening to this show. But yeah, go check out southbeachskinsolutions.com or getanalbleaching.com.
By the way, the South Beach Skin Solutions is $75 for a 2-ounce bottle.
$75 for a 2-ounce bottle of that stuff?
Yeah, not cheap.
God, dude. Well, it was saying, too, that some people had used different products before they used the South Beach Skin Solutions product.
Just like Clorox?
Yeah, so some lady said it burned. So I imagine they were just like, sitting on bleach.
White out.
I used to just paint my asshole with whiteout, but now I have South Beach Skin Solutions. Thank you. Well, that's about
enough of that.
That's enough of that. I was just bringing it to your attention. Maybe we'll put up a link on the website or something along those lines. Well, as I mentioned before, this is podcast 29, and I believe I won the last podcast 28. I received a number of articles for the acid bridge troll story.
Number of votes.
Oh yeah, my bad. A number of votes for the acid bridge troll
good
story.
For you, asshole.
So I'm gonna have to start it off this week. Sick and Wrong is a competition between me and Mr. Wackerly here. We see who can find the most disturbing article, and the audience votes. Sick and Wrong Podcast at hotmail.com, and the winner gets a case of MGD. So yeah, I'm enjoying my MGD this week. Here's my article for podcast 29. So it was kind of slim pickings this week. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, lame.
Yeah, I noticed there was a dearth of good, disturbing articles.
That usually means
on.
that next week there'll be a lot of stuff going on though.
Yeah, I think it varies from week to week. So this article I was going to do last week, but then I thought, well, there's not enough information. I don't think it's that cool. There's not as much to talk about. Well, then lo and behold, today I find a follow-up article where they actually reveal some of the details. So here I am doing it this week for podcast 29. So this article takes place in Michigan, Milan, Michigan, which is about, 45 minutes away from Detroit? No, probably less, about 20 minutes away from Detroit. So it's
close.
Kind of near the old hometown. And after reading this article and after hearing it, it's actually very believable, very credible that something like this would happen in Michigan.
I've actually spent quite a bit of time in Milan.
In Milan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so once I tell you what happened in this article, I think you'll be like, yeah, I can see that happening in Milan.
Okay.
No surprise there. So here's the headline. He drove till her arm tore off, but his lawyer says he's a hero for saving his wife.
Okay.
Confusing,
you're going to have to go forward with that.
Stephen Humphrey is in the Monroe County Jail in Detroit, Michigan, facing charges that could lock him up for 5 years or more. Police say that he dragged his wife down a dirt road, her arm tangled in the seatbelt strap through the open door of his pickup truck. He dragged her until the limb ripped clean from her body. Now, the defense that his lawyer is using for what happened here is his lawyer says he's a hero, rushing his injured wife to the hospital before she bled to death. But police claim otherwise. I guess he's charged with causing serious injury, operating a vehicle.
He caused the injury.
Yeah, he's caused with operating a vehicle with a suspended license, and his a charge of third offense, drunk driving.
Oh, I was gonna say high on crank, but probably just being really drunk would do it too.
Dude, this redneck was pretty fucked up. So yeah, it sounds like he's a real hero. It sounds like he was wasted, and he well, let me get to it. He got in a fight with his wife, and it just so happened that he tore her arm off, which I don't think usually is the result of most fights with your wife, but who knows? So his lawyer here is saying he's a hero. He made sure his wife survived. Whatever happened before that, I don't know about that. I'm just glad he took her to the hospital. Police, too, aren't entirely sure what led to 34-year-old Brenda Humphrey's arm being ripped off, but they're still searching the crime scene to find the arm. So no one's actually found this woman's arm yet. They just know that she was taken to the hospital, missing an arm. So the Humphreys have been married about 3 years, and they have twins, 1.5-year-old twins. The children are at their grandparents' house during the arm ripping off incident. I guess the parents went out drinking on a Saturday night, and this happened on the ride home from drinking. So now this led me to believe, I was wondering about this. So they have two 1.5-year-old twins. So these kids are relatively young, and they're probably not going to notice the fact that their mother's missing an arm.
They won't remember when she had 2 arms.
Yeah, they're not going to remember that.
Remember her as just a one-armed freak.
But don't you think they're going to be frightened by this a little bit? I mean, can she get a prosthetic arm?
Yeah,
or do you think
of
she would
course.
just get a hook?
In Milan, the hook might be more fashionable.
It could be. I mean, I guess she would probably just get a whole prosthetic arm with a hook.
Right, or maybe a screw-on thing at the end where she could switch the hook out for some type of a hand-looking, mannequin type thing,
or something along those lines. So here's
I myself would get a hook, by the way.
Yeah, I would get a hook too, with like a vibrator attachment, to pleasure the ladies.
Okay.
So the couple was heading home from Fender's, which is a bar in Milan, when they began to argue, and Stephen Humphrey told his wife to get the F out of the truck. So apparently, he told her to get the fuck out of the truck.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
Which I imagine happens a lot in Michigan. Actually, I think it happens a lot throughout America, but in Michigan, a lot of guys drive trucks. So I imagine when you get in a fight with your wife, you're like, get the fuck out of the truck. And I'm sure that's what he said. So Brenda agreed, but she reached to the passenger door to grab her cell phone. And as she did that, her husband took off, and her arm got tangled in his mullet. I mean, his seatbelt. After she was dragged a distance, about 3 miles.
That's a distance, all right.
No, she was dragged a distance. They don't actually specify how far. Her feet got caught beneath a rear tire, and her arm severed between the shoulder and the elbow. While she couldn't remember what street she was being dragged along, she told police that it was a dirty road. Atkinson said Stephen Humphrey initially. So this guy dragged his wife, he tore her arm off, and then he was probably just like, oh shit. What the fuck am I going to do now?
Continued driving home, trying to hatch a plan.
He's wasted. And you think about it. So, let's say you had some kind of, horrible accident like this, and you're wasted. Would you take your wife immediately to the hospital, or would you try to come up with some type of alibi?
It sounds like he tried to come up with an alibi, I think.
Exactly. I mean,
in
this situation, I would have been like, we got to get the fuck over to the hospital, and I'm going to say it's an accident, and, whatever. She fell out of the truck, something.
Get the fuck in the truck.
Get the fuck back in the truck, you armless bitch. But no, what happened here is he told police, this is what Stephen Humphrey came up with. The guy's a real brainchild. So he told police he had let his wife out of the truck so she could relieve herself in the woods. He then drove down the road, waited patiently, turned around to pick her up, and discovered her lying in the ditch with her right arm missing.
She must be very modest if she makes him drive down the road just so she can take a piss in a ditch.
Well, what I don't understand is why does this guy think that police would buy this? Like, there's some kind of creature, like, what was that creature in Beowulf that ripped off arms?
Or the chupacabra?
Yeah, I mean, is there something
or
in the
just
woods
a bear?
that just happened to rip her arm off, and she's just lying there with no arm?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I don't understand what this guy was thinking. I guess he said that she had been hit by another car, but police didn't buy this alibi. So she was admitted to the hospital. Thank God he got her there in time, and she's in fair condition right now. In addition to her lost arm, she suffered a fractured pelvis and a ruptured bladder. Police then impounded his truck, and they're still looking for Brenda's arm, her wooden-soled flip-flops, her gingham skirt, and a white styrofoam cooler. Yeah. I think it's safe to assume that this is a white trash incident. And they're also awaiting the results of the blood alcohol tests on Stephen Humphrey, which I'm willing to wager are pretty high. The sergeant here on duty said that he often deals with the whodunits, but this one's a little odd. It's a traffic-related crash, but he's never had to deal with not being able to find an arm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what I lead to believe? And they actually even have a number at the end of the article. If you know anything about Brenda Humphrey's arm, call this number. I mean, what do they assume? Someone just kind of was like, hey, check it out, an arm. I'm going to take this home with me.
Who knows?
I
think a wild animal ate it.
I bet you the husband has it. He's doing things with that arm.
Taxidermy?
So in conclusion here, on the sick and wrong scale, the fact that this redneck ripped off his wife's arm, I'm going to have to give this and he came up with an alibi rather than immediately taken to the hospital. I'm willing to say that he's not a hero. I'm actually going to say that he's an abuser.
Villain.
But he's a villain in this story, an antagonist. I'm going to have to give this guy probably an 8.7.
I'll give it an 8.1. But being that they're really white trash, I doubt this piece of advice would take any hold with her because I doubt she's a big reader. But she might want to check out that Ernest Hemingway novel.
Which one?
A Farewell to Arms.
A Farewell to Arms.
You might enjoy it.
Didn't Tennessee Williams write a story called One Arm about a one-armed prostitute?
Maybe.
Yeah.
They're not reading.
No, I don't think they can read.
Well, I think I should bring my story, try and give you some competition. Like you said, this week, WEEK was pretty weak. WEAK in the Sick and Wrong news department, I thought.
Clever play on words.
Yeah, it was almost as good as the Ernest Hemingway thing. But I have to say that people in San Francisco are going to know this story intimately that I'm going to talk about. But so this the incident happened a year ago, almost exactly. It was the end of June 2005, and this woman, Maureen Fabish, a 40-year-old woman from San Francisco, is actually on trial right now. It's not a normal trial; it's a grand jury trial, which is a little bit different. I don't know if people know about that, but there's different rules in a grand jury trial. It's more like there's not a judge. There's like a panel of people who judge you. I don't think there's a real jury.
There has to be a judge presiding over the trial.
There might be a judge that just makes sure the rules are followed, but it's a grand jury.
But it's not a criminal trial.
And it's not a jury of your peers. It's a chosen, officials are the jury. It's a grand jury. It's not a normal jury. So I don't know if that has any relevance, but it's kind of interesting. So back in June 2005, this Maureen Fabish, she has 3 kids. She lives in the Sunset area of San Francisco, out by Golden Gate Park. Very nice area. Old houses.
Very affluent. It's not incredibly affluent, but it's kind of suburban for San Francisco.
Everywhere in San Francisco is pretty affluent. The only people who don't have a lot of money are people who've lived there forever and just have their house. Because the houses are like $1 million homes out there.
Yeah. Or unless you live in the Tenderloin.
Yeah, right. So this woman had 3 kids. She was married, but her husband was in Oregon. I never know how to pronounce that state's name, but because they were about to move there, and he was up there sort of setting things up. So she's kind of overwhelmed, back living in San Francisco, getting ready to move. She's got these 3 kids.
The trials and tribulations of a single mother.
I think she has a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old or something.
At least she has 2 fucking arms.
Yeah, it didn't help in this situation, but I'll get into that. So her 13-year-old was at school, as all children should be, and her 11-year-old, she had like a parent-child day where she was taking the kid to sort of a school picnic function type, field trip type thing. The 10-year-old that day just didn't want to go to school because he's a little bit of an idiot, just one of those kids,
Is he retarded?
I'll get into that later.
Okay.
I have issues with this, but so the kid who didn't want to go to school, she said, well, his name was, I can't believe I can't think of it, Nicholas. You come with me and your sister to this picnic. And he was like, no, I don't want to go. I'm, a little obstinate fuck.
Yeah, this kid has some issues here.
So she ended up leaving this kid at home. And now here's the kicker of the story.
So she left her 10-year-old by himself at home?
He's 12.
12, okay.
Which is all right. But here's the kicker. She had this woman, the family, owned 2 non-neutered, non-spayed pit bulls.
Ooh, pit bulls. You never leave your kid home with a pit bull.
So neither of them are fixed. One's a male, one's a female, and the female is in heat.
Oh.
Meaning, in estrus, whatever you call it. I think people know what that is, right?
Which means pit bulls are becoming violent.
Right. And
there's been a spate of pit bull killings in this area. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Every week there's an article in Oakland about
San
Francisco about a pit bull that mauled some kid. I don't even understand why people even own these animals.
Because it's freaking retarded. People think it makes them look tough. It's just like people who have, walk around with guns, packing heat. It's like, if you're really tough, you don't need anything. You're just tough. But you see these people, you see like girls who weigh 90 pounds have a 90-pound dog just dragging him around on a leash.
Yeah, but why the fuck would someone want a volatile animal that, has the capacity to murder somebody? It's like, well, what do you want that in your house for?
You just asked and answered your own question.
People
always say,
guess,
I
can
think
understand
they're cute.
that.
But whatever, go get some mutt. All dogs are cute, except for,
Why not get a golden retriever? The golden retriever doesn't maul anybody, but people have to get pit bulls.
So here, on top of this just ridiculous
learn their
premise
lessons.
that she's leaving this kid home with these two dogs, male and female, who are in heat, full-grown pit bulls, killing machines, basically. She knew that these dogs were a problem, and she had told this kid, stay away from the dogs because the female, whatever her name is, Bella, I think,
is in
heat. So you can stay home by yourself, but stay away from these dogs. And to ensure that he stayed away from these dogs, she put the kid in the basement with some snacks and a video game and propped a shovel against the door, ostensibly so the male dog couldn't break the door down and, get at the kid.
So she locked the kid in the basement.
Well, she put the kid in the basement and barricaded the door from the dog getting in the basement.
So once again, why do you need to have two animals that you need to lock your kid away from?
Right.
Yeah, I just don't understand that type of parenting. Maybe that's why I'm not a parent. But if I became a parent, I sure as fuck would not have a pit bull.
Neither would I.
No, I mean, I don't want to have to be like, well, the dog might maul my child. Yeah, I'm going to have to lock you in the basement, kid.
So anyways, everybody knows where this is going. Maureen Fabish came back with her daughter from the picnic, walked in the house to find Nikki Fabish just completely, the dogs both on top of him. He's upstairs at this point because he didn't listen to instructions. The dogs are just chewing him to pieces.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
She immediately calls 911. The cops come, and when Police Sergeant Brian Devlin gets there, he can't even get in the front door of the house. He has to shoot the female dog because she just won't let him in. So he just caps the female dog.
Dude, the females are as violent as the males, aren't they?
He confronts the male dog in the hallway, manages to get around the male dog Rex without shooting him, and then he sees Maureen Fabish covered in blood, and she's trying to give Nicholas. The article says mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but I think it's more like mouth-to-mangled air hole resuscitation. The sergeant said it was
give me nightmares.
The sergeant said it was immediately apparent that the kid was long gone, and he pulled the Maureen off of him and was just like, you're just wasting your time. So there's some issues now. She's in front of this grand jury trying to defend herself. The prosecutors are saying that the kid had chronic learning disabilities, or not the prosecutors, the
defense attorney.
No, I'm sorry. It is the prosecutor. So they're saying, well, she should have known not to leave this retarded kid there. Well, but I think that's bullshit.
Dude, I totally agree. You shouldn't leave your kid home with two violent animals.
Yeah, but I think saying that this kid is retarded is bullshit. And it's part of this whole thing where you can't just have dumb kids anymore. Don't you remember being in school, especially elementary school, all the way up into high school, and you just had friends where you're just like, this is my friend. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's stupid. He doesn't do well in school, but whatever. He's my friend. But you can't say that your kid is stupid anymore. You have to be like, oh, well, he doesn't follow instructions.
He has developmental issues.
He doesn't
or something
like
school.
So yeah, you say he has learning disabilities, but it's just a stupid kid. Maybe he has like a 85 IQ. But at the same time,
I don't see how that would mitigate what she did. I mean, she knew these dogs are violent. Why the fuck would she leave her kid home alone with them?
No, it's the prosecuting attorneys that are saying that he was retarded to try and make their case that she was extra culpable.
Oh, okay. So she's even more culpable for leaving her kid home because she knew that she had developmentally
disabled. Exactly. So that was one of the not funny things, but new issues. So that didn't come up before. That this kid is supposed to be retarded.
What's the defense based on?
The defense is based on.
Well, he's retarded and he doesn't listen to what I say.
That he's not. No, the defense is that he's not retarded. That, Maureen just made a mistake and, the things like this just happen, basically. And it's been horrible for her, so she doesn't need any more, she doesn't need jail time or anything. Another thing that came out this week was some of the description of the actual basement. There was a lot of speculation, like, oh, my God, she locked her kid in the basement, but that's not really what happened, right? He was just down there, and the door was barricaded against the dog coming down. He could get out, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So there were reptiles and rats in cages in the basement. He did have a video game. He had some like bags of chips, but there was also a refrigerator. This is as part of, I guess, the food left for him. There's a refrigerator, but all the food in it was moldy and just disgusting.
So were there any other dangerous animals, like predatory animals in the basement, like a lion or an anaconda, maybe?
No. Well, they say reptiles. They don't make it out.
Snakes in the basement?
Yeah, snakes in a motherfucking basement. The toilet, so, kid's going to have to use the toilet, was broken and would not flush.
I think this woman should win the Sick and Wrong Parent of the Week award.
Well, Parent of the Year, I would
go
so
Parent
far
of the
as to
Year.
Say. Fabish has, in this court proceeding, has conceded that the basement bathroom was so foul that she would not use it herself.
But yet she still
she just thought her kid, it's good enough for the kid.
She has no qualms about
retard.
locking her retarded kid, up in the basement.
Yeah.
And watch out for the hellhounds that are upstairs, okay?
Early the night before this attack, the dog that ended up killing Nicholas was bit. The dog bit Nicholas in the stomach, but Maureen told the kids that this hostility is normal when the dogs are trying to fuck each other and we don't let them.
All right. Once again, I still cannot comprehend why someone would want to own these animals.
She told her defense attorney that she'd explained to Nicholas that Rex would see him as a predator. This dog's probably 90 pounds. The kid's probably 80 pounds, Little doughy, little video game playing idiot.
Yeah, like Dorito chewing fat kid. And that's like lunch to a pit bull.
Yep. Well, that's basically everything.
Dude, all in all, that's pretty sick and wrong, that story.
Yeah, and I think, what do you think's going to happen to her? You think she's going to get convicted, or do you think they're going to let her go?
Dude, this woman should be convicted of criminal negligence to her child. I mean, you do not leave a kid home alone with two violent animals.
I think they say that
I don't want to offer any kind of parental advice here. I'm the last person you should turn to for this, but in this situation, I would not have left my kid home alone with that.
I think you can say what not to do. It's not really advice. It's just saying, well, don't do that.
Dude, I hope she does some time. And in fact, I wonder what her husband thinks about this. I'd love to get his opinion.
I'm sure that'll come out in the coming days. Maybe we can do some little recaps or something. But if convicted, she could be sentenced to as many as 10 years in state prison.
Jesus. I don't know, man. I have to say that she deserves it. But hey.
Parent of the Year.
On the sick and wrong scale, I think I might have to give that 8.9.
Same as yours, huh? Yeah, I'll give it
No,
an
mine
8.
was an 8.7.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it an 8.5.
I'm disgusted by that article, so I'm going to have to give it a little higher than mine. But hey, we invite the Sick and Wrong listening audience to vote. Sick and Wrong Podcast at hotmail.com. You can help us decide who gets the case of beer here for Podcast 29.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Well, dude, we need to wrap up this podcast here, and as usual, we discuss listener email towards the end of every podcast. And dude, we've been inundated with a lot of these very harsh World Cup emails. I kind of want to go through maybe next week and just kind of compile the list and discuss them here on the air, but there's so many.
It's going to take a while
and
to
they're
sort through.
So vitriolic that I think we're going to have to wait until next week. Yeah, they're pretty harsh. Although a couple, at the same time, a lot of people agreed with us too. So a lot of information to get through, and we'll have to get to it. But in the meantime,
point, counterpoint.
Yeah, in the meantime, I want to discuss a recent iTunes comment that we had on our iTunes Sick and Wrong page. So we have a number of comments. People on iTunes can leave comments for the podcast that they subscribe to or that they like, and I think we have like 5 or 6 comments or something like that. And most of them are just kind of these benign, like, nondescript comments. Well, this one came in that totally made me laugh. Dude, I laughed out loud at work when I read this. So, do you have the iTunes page uploaded here?
Yes, I do. I have it right here.
Hey, you got to read this comment.
Well, the other interesting thing is you can leave a comment and you can rate the show, 1 to 5 stars. So
okay, yeah.
This was our first 1-star rating. we had a previous commenter give us 2 stars and say that the show wasn't sick enough for his taste. But
which that guy must be a pretty sick bastard.
This person who left an anonymous comment says, "Total rubbish. This show is absolute garbage. If you like to hear 2 Dungeons & Dragons, 20-sided die rolling, sweaty, smelly, never-been-laid gamers make fun of people mourning their miscarried babies, you may like this trash."
So the reason why Wackerly is using this pathetic English accent is because she said total rubbish, and so I'm just leads me to believe that this person is English. And who else says total rubbish?
And do you think it's a guy? I think it's a girl because of the anger over the miscarriage comments that we made a couple podcasts back. But you think it's a guy because of the whole Dungeons and Dragons 20-sided die rolling blah 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 comment.
Well, what I find funny about it is you mentioned that they unsubscribed from the podcast.
Well,
right?
let me finish the comment.
Okay.
I wouldn't waste my time or hard drive space on these degenerates. We just unsubscribed. If there were a no-star rating, this show would have gotten it for sure.
Dude, and you know what's funny about this comment, what made me laugh, is this is what I aspire for. I mean, this is the whole purpose of this podcast, is that.
Right. We do a show called Sick and Wrong, and
for a reason.
If we can't offend anybody, then it's kind of pointless.
Exactly. Like, I was more upset when I read that not sick enough. I was like, oh, shit, I'm not doing my job.
That really hurt.
And then when I read, that really hit home. But then when I read this total rubbish comment, I'm like, God, that's self-validating. Seriously, I was just like, we finally offended somebody. And what I also find funny about this comment is the fact that they're like, we unsubscribed when they heard the miscarriage show, they unsubscribed to the podcast. So that was like podcast, 24, 26?
Something like that. You can read through the descriptions and figure out which one it was.
So this person must have been subscribed to the podcast for a good 15 to 20. They didn't care about all the other disgusting, horrible shit that we talk about up until the miscarriage, and they're like, okay, I'm disgusted by it.
Completely offended.
So the reason why I think it's a guy, I bet you this guy, he was upset because his wife just recently had a miscarriage, and squeezed out some tomato paste. And so now he's bitching about our show. And it's great. Good. I'm glad that guy's upset.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, I guarantee he continues listening.
I was just going to say, Guy, if it's your wife that made you unsubscribe, you can still go to the webpage, www.sickandwrongpodcast.com, and just download the shows directly.
Dude, I wonder if she denied him sex until... I bet you he was a closet listener, or he was maybe open about his listening to the podcast. Then his wife found out about it, and she's like, we just had a miscarriage, Gerard. Or Bernard, or whatever English name you want to use there. And so he was like... Ian, and she's like, you're not having any sex. You're not going to see my cleanly white bleached anus until you unsubscribe for this podcast.
And leave a comment. That was the kicker to get the sex going again.
Well, the fact of the matter is, disgruntled listener here, we don't do a show called Prairie Home Companion. We're not out there to please people.
Which, by the way, is the worst show on the radio.
Yeah, I find that insulting.
It goes on for 5 hours every Sunday.
This isn't fucking NPR, It's Sick and Wrong.
Although if NPR would like to pick up the show, contact us at sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com.
But I mean, it's Sick and Wrong, and the fact that we got that comment put on our iTunes page means that we're doing our jobs. It's a pat on the back, Wackerly.
As George W. Bush says, mission accomplished.
On that note, we need to end this podcast here. Make sure you stay tuned for podcast 30 coming up next week, and we will discuss all the sundry World Cup emails that we've been receiving due to the content of the last show, podcast 28. But until next week, smell you later.
Good night.